This relationship didn't end because something bad happened. Nothing blew up. If you'd asked me back then, I would have said it was actually pretty good. And that's what made it so confusing. Because things can be good and still feel off. I noticed myself quietly pulling back. I didn't have a clear reason for it. I just had questions I couldn't answer yet. But I kept them to myself until it was too late to say it out loud. When I met this man, it felt different right away. He was stable, clear about his intentions, and he took initiative. He told me he liked me and he didn't make it complicated or weird. Which, looking back, should have been my first sign that this relationship was going to teach me something. We met once through work and then nothing happened for months. 6 months later, I moved to Barcelona. New city, new life. I started a new business. So naturally, like any new business owner does, I started posting online. He started commenting. That moved into the DMs and then into calls. Things moved pretty fast from there. We talked every day and I remember this one moment so clearly. He said, I would come and see you right now if you were still in Amsterdam. And man, my immediate reaction was relief. Like, not excitement, it was relief. Oh my God, thank God that's not possible and that I'm so far away now. That was Susan, my avoidant side. She was very alert, very practical, and very impressed with the distance. Because distance felt safe. Susan liked it that way. And distance meant I could open up without feeling trapped. I could fall in love without my nervous system looking for the closest emergency exit. And honestly, Susan was loving that setup. When we finally saw each other again in real life, I was pretty nervous. I was thinking, what if I don't like him in person? What happens then? But I actually did. I surprised myself. We had fun, it was easy, he was caring, still consistent, and nothing changed except the distance. And when I moved back to Amsterdam, my place was still sublet, so he asked me to stay with him for a while. He asked me to actually move in. And somehow that worked too. There was no drama, there was no weird tension, no emotional roller coasters, just two adults loving each other's company. Which is not very exciting. It doesn't sound exciting, but it felt good. It was calm and it was stable. And at the time, I didn't see that as something special. I just thought, this is nice. Then COVID hit and the house started to feel too small. When my own place came available again, I moved back. And I said first just for 1 month so I could focus on work. That month turned into 2, then 3. And suddenly we were only seeing each other on weekends. And in my head, I had very good reasons for this. I was building my business, so I needed quiet, I needed focus. All true and very responsible reasons. And Susan was just thrilled about this. Susan loves productivity. She also loves personal growth, especially when personal growth includes emotional distance. In this distance, I also started questioning things in my head. There was quite an age difference between us. And I felt like I was building my life up and he was really slowing down. And because I knew I had commitment issues, I told myself I was being mature. I was taking my time, thinking things through, very quietly, keeping it all to myself. I didn't communicate anything. And because nothing really felt wrong enough to explain at the time. And I wasn't uncomfortable with him. It was nothing really about him. I think I was just uncomfortable with how calm everything was. My system was used to intensity, it was used to fireworks. And this felt more like central heating. Always on, quiet, reliable. And apparently my brain was like, are we sure this is still working? There's no emergency, no fires to put out. I started calling it boring. Not because he was boring, he wasn't. But because nothing needed fixing, nothing demanded a reaction from me. There was no adrenaline, no urgency, just steadiness. And that scared me more than chaos ever had. I remember thinking, if it already feels like this after 1 year, what will it feel like after 5 or 10? Apparently, excitement was still part of my screening process. Before I could sort any of that out, those thoughts about my commitment issues, he already noticed something. And out of nowhere, he broke up with me. He said he felt like I was already checked out and that he wanted to move on. This came quite as a surprise, and I remember sitting at the kitchen table and crying, but also feeling relieved at the same time. I felt relieved that I didn't have to be the one to say it, and relieved that I didn't have to explain feelings I still hadn't organized. Not my proudest moment, but it was real. And the relief stayed with me longer than the sadness. And to be clear, I loved being in that relationship. I really did. It showed me what calm and stable can actually look like. It also showed me what consistency feels like when it's real, not exciting in a loud way, but grounding and secure. That was completely unfamiliar to me. What I didn't understand yet was how important it is for me to talk while I'm confused, not after I've pulled away. My default is to keep things inside, to think about them, to analyze them, and handle everything on my own. You know, being that independent woman, just how Susan likes it. But well, this relationship really showed me that calm doesn't mean boring, or that you should not communicate your doubts. It actually means you finally have the space to do it, which ironically I didn't use. Susan had a lot of thoughts. She just didn't share them. I now know that calm can feel unfamiliar before it feels safe. And if any of this sounds familiar, just know that you're not broken. You might just be more used to noise than quiet. And learning a different rhythm takes time. That's actually what this relationship gave me. Not a happy ending, but a clearer one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.